Welcome to Blockchain Recorded, the podcast for the tech curious, where we talk about anything and everything related to the exponentially evolving crypto blockchain and Web 3.0 space. Blockchain Recorded's mission is simple: to share knowledge and insight and help evolve education in blockchain fundamentals and decentralization solutions. We at Blockchain Recorded are not registered investment advisors and do not deal with financial or trading token elements, nor offer any licensed financial services. The content of this podcast is provided for informational and educational purposes only, while the opinions of all parties involved are their own. I'm your host, Nina Cerar. I have a finance background, having worked on Wall Street and the pharmaceutical industry. After living in 5 countries and dedicating time to my family, I left the corporate world. Today, I work as a freelance consultant and am fascinated by the innovative space of crypto and blockchain, different ways of thinking, and the people that are making that happen. So let's talk blockchain. Before we begin, let me say a few words about our sponsor. This episode sponsors Fourth Tech, which is short for Fourth Pillar Technologies. Fourth Tech is a next-gen multi-blockchain ecosystem, platform, cryptocurrency, and a suite of decentralized applications that enable users to exchange data files and instant messages from wallet to wallet in a secure and decentralized way. The Fourth Tech Charter aims to establish a foundation for decentralized digital identity, multi-chain data exchange, digital data notarization, and decentralization of cloud storage. Established back in 2017, the initiative is composed of individuals and companies that collaborate to create decentralized data management solutions for the benefit of everyone. 2 of the Fourth Tech innovations are 4DX, which can be described as the blockchain WeTransfer alternative, where the protocol leverages trust sourced from the blockchain and provides a secure, immutable wallet A to wallet B data file exchange, and 4IM, which uses the Solana blockchain to serve as an immutable ledger, exchanging encrypted short instant messages from wallet to wallet. So today we're talking with Ivar Moesman, the business development director at Blockstream. Ivar has a background in finance and has worked in sectors such as fast-moving consumer goods brand management, fashion, business consulting, government, and is a serial entrepreneur. He's been going deeper and deeper into the crypto rabbit hole since 2014 and has been doing public speeches, organized crypto meetups, and worked professionally in the crypto space since 2016 for companies such as BTCC in Shanghai, China, Ballet physical hardware wallet, and since recently he joined Blockstream as the business development director. So today we're planning to cover topics that revolve around Blockstream and its products, a little more about their mining, Blockstream Finance, the Litwood network, and of course, our favorite topic of decentralization, network effects, governance, and whatever else comes our way and we think about. So welcome, Ivar, to Blockchain Recorded.
Thank you, Nina. Great to be here.
Yeah, you have an interesting bio. I see you've jumped around throughout different industries. So fashion and government. What did you do in fashion?
Yes. Well, I think it's, like we're all human beings. As humans, we evolve, we're little kids and we grow and we have, desires and aspirations, and we kind of stumble through life and we have to figure it out all by ourselves. So we kind of, my approach was to try different things and see where sort of life takes me. So I was in a lot of different industries. I tried to do a lot of different things. I started to work as a brand manager. I worked for, sort of big, fast-moving consumer goods companies, focus on marketing and logistics and finance and things like this. And at some point, I realized that I don't really want to work with, I was working with like dishwasher detergents, products like Vanish and cleaning products. So I thought like, well, it's really interesting. The people are great and it's very cool. You get exposed to a lot of different things. It's an international company, blah, blah, blah. But it's like you're working on dishwashing detergent, so it's not really that interesting. So I quickly wanted to sort of do something else. You kind of feel like also in a big company, you're kind of stuck in a structure where everything's sort of paved out and it's very fixed, and they have very strict rules, what you can do, who you speak to, da da da. So I'm more like a free spirit, I think. So I wanted to try something else. So I tried things like setting up my own companies in areas that interest me. And I have a lot of different interests, but fashion was one of them, and things like this. So I've kind of done a lot of different things, and that sort of took me into different places.
How did all those experiences lead you to crypto? Like, what made you jump to the crypto world?
Yes. So, I mean, I think for everyone, it's, the famous story of the rabbit hole. For me, it was, so I had a background in finance, and I think by spirit, I'm a bit like, I don't necessarily like authority very much. I don't like being told what to do. And I think a lot of crypto people have that thing. They have the libertarian thing, and I first heard an interview on the Joe Rogan Experience, with Andreas Antonopoulos. I don't know how many thousands of people he brought into Bitcoin, but I heard it was like a 2 or 3 hour interview. He just broke it down. What is Bitcoin? And for me, it just clicked instantly. Like on not on a technical level. I didn't read the white paper. I didn't. But when he explained it, I just kind of saw the vision. I see where this is leading. It was obvious to me. It's obvious, and then sort of you go deeper and deeper, and you kind of get more interested. I've always been interested in tech, computers, finance, and these things, and being a free spirit, all these things come together in crypto. I think it's political, it's philosophical, it's crypto, it's tech, it's so many different things, and it goes to the heart of like the power structure of society. So it's like such a crazy, it's a beast of a thing. So I think it just sucks in so many people. And
it definitely draws you in, right?
Get rich.
Yeah. So it was Joe Rogan. So you were listening to Joe Rogan. It's not like you came across the white paper or heard about Bitcoin, the pizza story. You basically that was what drew you in.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I think he's pretty convincing.
He is. And I think some people you could hear. When he speaks, it's very. You can kind of hear that. You could pick up the truth. And he puts it very eloquently. Like I don't understand. After people, if after you hear Andreas Antonopoulos speech, I don't understand how you can walk away and not be totally fascinated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, how can some people not get it? Yeah. Even some tech people that, they don't get it, or finance people, how can you not understand it? So I think either you truly don't understand because, I don't know, you lack a vision or whatever. I mean, because a lot of smart people that don't get it, so I sometimes struggle. So either they're being dishonest, but because they have other sort of agendas, so it's not in their interest to, so they might be lying or something. But I think if you understand crypto and Bitcoin, you have to be on Team Bitcoin, I think.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because you mentioned if you're in the corporate rat race, right? I think it's difficult sometimes to see it when you're in there. When you leave and when you're your own sort of independent, when you're working independently, like you said, you're not answering to authority, you're sort of in charge of your own self-actualization, right? I think some people just can't see it, don't see it, just maybe get influenced by the propaganda that it's a scam. So I don't know. I agree with you. I think it's hard to not have that element of doubt and say, maybe there's something here, right? So, but given all that. Yeah. Given all that, so then how did you, you've tried different things. So I guess, why did you decide to work with Blockstream?
Right. So, so first I started, like you mentioned, I was working as a consultant for governmental services in Shanghai. So I'm Norwegian. So I worked for the Norwegian Consulate General there. For the commercial section, I was on the business side helping Norwegian companies come to China and to Shanghai, do market research, be sort of the connecting link between China and Norway. And that's really cool because it's very interesting to me. That's why also I moved to Shanghai. It's an adventure. It's the new Wild West. It's the Wild East. Where all the opportunities are. For an entrepreneur, I moved there because I thought, wow, that's amazing. Like I have to go to China. This is the new thing. So and then I worked for the government there. So even though it's kind of cool, it was commercial. It was like consulting oriented and stuff like that. Yeah, I was still in the government structure, and I quickly saw how the governments work, Yeah. And it's like this whole, there's so many, let's not even go into that rabbit hole, but I saw a lot of issues there.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not even go there. Let's focus on the positive side, on the solution, which is crypto.
Sure.
Yeah. So then, I and again, like when you go into the rabbit hole, you kind of get more and more into it. You get more and more passionate. The more you read, the more interested you are. And then at some point I thought, so I worked for the government. I also had my own company that I was running. So I had those two things that I was doing. And then I found crypto and Bitcoin. I thought, this is much more important. I have to dedicate myself to this. And so I applied for a job at BTCC, BTC China, which was one of the three big exchanges in China. And that's how it started, basically. And once
wait, so BTCC was, sorry, BTCC was after the government, the position?
Yeah, exactly. I transitioned from the consulate to BTC China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you've really discovered the bureaucratic, the corporate, the self-independent entrepreneurial, and then crypto. I think crypto is like its own animal.
So I've been to like very professional, international companies, and then being an entrepreneur, doing everything myself, and then working for government, and then going to crypto. I've been into a lot of different industries, and a lot of different levels.
And now Blockstream, right? So
and now Blockstream, yes. So like the reason, I think the question as well, like why did I, what led me to Blockstream and why Blockstream now? I also worked for another company called Ballet, which is a crypto company that develops and sells physical hardware wallets. That was Bobby Lee. He was the CEO, co-founder of BTC China as well. So I was helping him to set up that company, and I transitioned to Blockstream because I think it's all about the people and sort of how they think and what they do. And if you look at the crypto space, you look at all the different companies. There's so many different companies now that are doing different things. But I want to help Bitcoin. I want to help Bitcoin succeed. That's for me important. And so if I look at all the different companies in the crypto space, Blockstream I think really sticks out for many reasons. The first reason is being the people. I mean, there's legends. Obviously, you have Adam Back, which is like legendary. Cypherpunk.
Right. Yeah, he has, speaks for itself.
Exactly. So his philosophy I think is very important to me, like the morals, and they're in it for Bitcoin. They're really trying to do the hard work that other people may not want to do. And then you have other people like Gregory Maxwell. He doesn't work there anymore. He used to be the CTO. Peter Woolley. Andrew Polstra, Christian Becker, all these people. And Samson, I used to work with Samson Mao at the BTCC as well. So, he was Blockstream, he's the CSO there. And so number one is the people. I really wanted to, well, first of all, it's the, how I want to dedicate my time and energy, to help Bitcoin. Where can I best do that? So for me, that was Blockstream because of the people there, and the morals, their alignment to the Bitcoin ethos, and also what they're developing. So if you look at the products that Blockstream have, it's really pretty insane. It's true like big, yes.
Yeah, well, you actually talk to us about that. So Blockstream's focus is the development of the Bitcoin network, just like what you've alluded to. Talk to us more about that. Yeah,
so I think a lot of companies in the crypto space they sort of use the Bitcoin network. They see it as a sort of a finished product, and they plug into it, and they just sort of use or exploit it. Not exploit it in a negative way, and just saying like they're Bitcoin exchanges. They build tech, but they're not necessarily sort of promoting the infrastructure of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is Bitcoin is two things. It's a token, and then it's a network. So Blockstream, I think, really sticks out because they're and they also call themselves a Bitcoin infrastructure company. So Blockstream is really trying to improve the network of Bitcoin to make it better. To do the hard lifting. To build the roads, not just use the roads. So I think that's the first thing that sticks out. So some of the products that they do, and also number two, like they're a conglomerate, meaning they're in some of the different sectors of the industry. It's really insane. So they do like mining. And also within the mining sector, they do a lot of different things and have a lot of huge plans for the future as well. We have a whole new sort of finance arm where we're looking at, how to create new finance products that sort of bridge crypto and traditional finance. We have wallets. So we have 3 different wallets. We have Aqua, which is a very simple Bitcoin or liquid wallet. That is sort of built for everyone. It's very easy to use. It's super simple. You can sort of onboard very easily. The UI it's very intuitive. You don't have to be an expert. You can sort of buy crypto using a credit card. So it's very easy for beginners. And then there's Blockstream Green, which is sort of a super advanced Bitcoin wallet, which has a lot of features that is more for experts, and it supports Bitcoin and Liquid. And then there's Blockstream Jade, which is a hardware wallet. It's like an open source wallet. So, So they have 3 different wallets. And then obviously we have, I think we'll probably talk more about that, but Liquid, which it's a Bitcoin sidechain.
Yeah, definitely.
And they're also working on Lightning. Yeah, Lightning. So they're working on Lightning implementation as well. And then we have a Block Explorer, also a Liquid Explorer. And then there's a Blockstream Satellite, which is again, a pretty crazy product. There's so a lot of different. So I can, if you want, I can mention a little bit more about the satellite product.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
yeah. So again, that sort of also comes into the ethos of the founders and people at the company, which is how do we make Bitcoin stronger? And so the satellite is literally a satellite network, that orbits the Earth 24/7.
I think it's crazy, and you have your own satellite network. I think.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's not science fiction anymore.
No, it's not. It sounds science fiction, but it's actually real.
Yeah,
and it may sound like, oh, that's nice to have, but it's not really important. But it's very important to help the Bitcoin network become more resilient against attacks, against aggressive nation states. In a country where the government has the ability to shut down internet access, or in times of war. It's important to have redundancy. So if you use the Bitcoin, the blockchain satellite network, you have the ability to actually update your node and keep your node in sync, and read the Bitcoin blockchain via satellites. So basically, what you'll have is a sort of a USB receiver and a satellite antenna that you can buy from us. Like those are physical hardware, and just using those things, you can hook up to the Bitcoin network without actually having to have an internet connection.
Wow.
So it's like, it's making Bitcoin stronger, more redundant, more accessible. So that's one.
So
that's very hard to do.
Yeah. Who gets to choose? Who gets to choose to shut off the satellite? Then this is all Blockstream. I mean, you said okay. In terms of governments, right? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Just interesting how this is going to play out, because more and more probably there's just going to be more and more satellites going up, right? So,
yes.
Who's the owner of that? Yeah.
So you have, like you mentioned, so you have Elon Musk as well, with this.
Of course.
I think it's called Starlink. There's more things coming out.
Sure.
I mean, after hearing yesterday, Jeff Bezos and Captain Kirk, he went into outer space for the first time, and there's a lot of things happening obviously there. So I think that's with time it's going to be more satellites and things like this. But and again, this is something that we're not making a lot of money on. It's very difficult to do, but it's helpful for Bitcoin. It's like the public infrastructure of Bitcoin. It's difficult to build the roads. It's easy to drive on the roads once you have a car. But so this is also again a reason why I think Blockstream is pretty amazing, because they do these very difficult things that is helpful for Bitcoin that other people can't or won't do, because it doesn't have an instant ROI or something like that. So that's the satellite product.
That's the satellites. And then what else? What else can you take us through?
Well, there's something called Blockstream Data Services, or also called the Cryptocurrency Data Feed, which is it's a partnership between Blockstream and ICE. ICE is an acronym for Intercontinental Exchange. So they're like the leading provider to traditional finance, and so they actually own and operate 12 exchanges globally, including the New York Stock Exchange. And so they have data services where, they provide institutions with financial data. And traditionally, they have not given access, had any cryptocurrency products. But I think it was 2018. I mean, I've just been with Blockstream for about 2 months, so I don't know all the history. But
Sure.
In 2018, where basically Blockstream, we take data from cryptocurrency data from multiple sources, exchanges, and we clean up, process, and analyze this data, and then we send it to ICE, and then they will then give that data to their institutional clients. So it's basically like providing reliable crypto data to institutions that need reliable data, because a lot of the in the crypto world, you have a lot of different exchanges. So what are the prices? Like how to figure out what is the true price of Bitcoin at any time. There's a lot of exchanges.
Right.
There's a lot of Yeah, a lot of things going on there. What is real volume, what is fake, and things like that. So Blockstream is sort of helping to bring
So this is definitely, this is more transparent. Are you, so this is Blockstream Data Services you mentioned.
Yes.
Is there anyone else on the market with the exact same service? I mean, there must be other ones, or
so there are, I think, I mean, people have, so the exchanges, they sort of provide the data for free, most of them, like the crypto exchanges, they have APIs where you can just literally just plug into their data and use the data. And like if you're, professional trader, you have software, trading software, you just, plug into the API so that your software uses the data from the exchanges. So you can do that voluntarily. But the hard quote unquote work is to sort of clean everything up and make sure that you have redundancy in the data as well, because sometimes when exchange data shuts down, there's an interruption, or there's shenanigans.
Yeah, of course.
So you can't trust the data, so Blockstream literally like takes a lot of the data and sort of adds a layer or of our analytics part, so that's because we have the experience in the crypto field, and we have all the engineers that are able to do this. So there are some competitors, and again, you can get the data for free, but ICE being the entity that it plays in the traditional financial world, and their clients, they need reliable, proper data, quote unquote. So this is what Blockstream does. We take the data and we make it institutional. We make it Wall Street ready, from the crazy crypto world into Wall Street. So that's our sort of strength in that case.
It's extremely relevant, right? It's becoming more and more relevant. So okay, so and
we see a lot of growth in that product. A lot of growth, and the traditional institutions, they want more and more data. More coins.
I was just going to comment, like right? So they're actually they're the ones also coming to you for that. They want more data. Is that how it's working now?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. So ICE is sort of the ICE is sort of selling being the interface to the institutions. Institutions they don't come directly to Blockstream, but if they do, we just hand them off to ICE, because they already have in place all the structure for the traditional financial data. So they have all the connections there. We don't have connections necessarily to all the different companies in the traditional financial world. We bridge it. We bridge the crypto world with institutions. ICE and Blockstream does that together. So this corporation, it's helping traditional finance to be able to look into crypto in a sort of more clear and regulated way, let's say.
Definitely. So Blockstream Data Services, satellites, you're definitely diversified. You mentioned Lightning and Liquid. Maybe we'll touch upon that later. You talked about the wallet, finance. What about mining? How is it with Blockstream? Like, and also just because also you've been in China and you also follow regarding mining and maybe China's ban on mining. What does it mean for you? What does it mean for Blockstream?
Yeah.
Do you mine more? Do you mine less?
It's fantastic. Thank you for the mining ban China. So I mean, basically what it is that, as I understand it as well, like, again, like the reason why Blockstream set up mining, it wasn't necessarily because, oh, hey, we're going to make all this money to mine Bitcoin. It was because, we need to decentralize the hash rate, and specifically, as the situation is, or used to be at least, it was China that had the most miners, obviously. So Blockstream set up this the mining service to help to create alternatives. Number one, to the production of ASIC miners, and number two, the mining pools, the software, and also the distribution of the actual mining. So when China now decided to sort of to clamp down on mining, for us it's great.
For you, it's great.
It's also good for Blockstream and also for Bitcoin. And since Blockstream is aligned with Bitcoin, it's great for both of us. Since now, we kind of get a bigger slice of the pie, because we actually do, like, we have various things we do within mining space. So number one is that it's called proprietary mining, so prop mining. So we actually mine Bitcoins ourselves. Blockstream owns and operates, ASIC miners, and we earn money for the company by mining ourselves. So just in this, since all the Chinese miners shut down, we get our hash rate, as a percentage of the network grows. So we earn more money on this. So in that sense, it's great. It's great because the hash rate is moved away from China, so it becomes more decentralized.
Sure.
So I think this whole thing was not a problem. It's wonderful. And also, it's another thing. It's like if you're smart in Bitcoin, any bad news is good news, because we know long term Bitcoin will go up. We know this. So if you're good news, bad news is good news. So every time you hear this media PR frenzy thing, there's a problem. Bitcoin, it's wonderful because you buy the dip. It means you get a discount on Bitcoin. So it's fantastic. It's great for Bitcoin. It's great for Blockstream. It's great for all the Bitcoin holders. If you panic sell, it's not good. But then that's
which is what most sort of newbies and investors do, just psychologically. But so interesting. So you mentioned proprietary mining, and what else within the Blockstream ecosystem, and I guess within the mining topic? What about renewables? Are you in renewable energy? Are you in this? Are you following it? Are you implementing it? How do you stand with that?
Absolutely. So, let me answer that question, but first, let me sort of take a step back and then sort of say a little more what we're doing. So I mentioned proprietary mining. That's one thing. We also do miner hosting, also called colocation services. So basically, imagine, if you want to get exposure to Bitcoin mining, it's fairly complicated, because you have to know, number one, you have to understand the miners, the hardware. Which miner do you buy, which is most efficient, and you should buy at scale. The more you buy, the better. So there are economies of scale by mining Bitcoin. You should also have connections that helps, to the producers. You should have fast delivery. So it doesn't, so basically from when you buy the miners to when you receive the miners and plug them in, it should be fast. And you should have cheap electricity. You should have a stable electricity supply. You should have a safe facility where you store them. There's maintenance involved. There's upgrading. If a miner fails, you have to repair it. You have to have the software to run it. Do you join a mining pool? There's all these different things. So to really get exposure to fixed income of mining, the mining revenue, it's very complicated. So we have miner hosting colocation services, where we basically provide reliable infrastructure, secure facilities, and a software management platform. So you just we either can help you buy miners, or you can just send your miners to us, and then we'll plug them in. You'll get our software, everything.
That's a great system.
Yeah, exactly. It sort of helps more people to get into mining without having to be an expert in all these different things. So that's another thing we do. We also have a new product called Modular Mining Unit, or MMU.
Okay.
So this is basically, let's say you operate and run a power plant. Or a facility where you basically you're in the business of generating energy and supply electricity to the grid. So there's obviously this is difficult. There are issues involved in that as well, because if you run let's say renewable energy, like you do wind or hydro, stuff like that, or solar, your energy production is not constant because it depends on nature.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And also the grid demand is also not constant. So there will be times when you have, let's say, you have too much electricity produced or too little.
Of course.
So there's and times when you have too much energy produced, you have excess electricity production versus the demand. Right. So what you can do then, you could either store it, which I guess what Tesla's doing with the power walls, or you could just waste it, which a lot of power companies, they do. Simply,
right. That's always been a problem. Right.
Exactly. Or now with Bitcoin, you could convert the electrical energy into monetary energy. You can just convert it to money, which hasn't been possible before. Like you plug a Bitcoin miner in, and you literally convert electrical energy to monetary energy. It's like, for me, it's like if you imagine that you have you suffer a wound. You cut your finger with a knife or something like that, and you start to bleed.
Yeah.
So there's a leak. Blood is running out. So what do you do? You put a Band-Aid on, and the body even the blood coagulates. It wants to clog the leak, and if you have a power plant that produces too much energy, it's like a leak. You have all this energy that's leaking out. So you take a Bitcoin miner, kind of like the analogy of the Band-Aid, and you plug the Bitcoin miner into the energy, and you fix the leak, and you convert that wasted energy into money. And that also helps the overall finances of the power plant. Sometimes if you want to set up, let's say, a renewable. You asked about renewable energy and stuff like that. And we also have a project there actually that we're doing with Square. But let's say you're setting up power plants. Let's say renewable, because that's important. That now that we move to sustainable energy production.
Of course.
Then you set up a power plant, and then you have to figure out the P&L, the finances, because you have to have investors and you have to show a positive ROI over the next X years.
Sure.
And if you have a Bitcoin miner as an added, let's say, product, it could help to overall increase the overall profitability of the renewable energy farm, which helps people to build more renewable energy farms. Because it's an added way to earn more money, to increase the revenue and profitability. So Bitcoin will help to facilitate and for more renewable energy facilities to be built.
Which is ironic, right? Sorry to intervene, exactly. Which is ironic because it's always been the criticism that Bitcoin and mining, and it's such it drains so much energy, and we heard of and read about all the statistics of the amount of energy that Bitcoin wastes is the size of X country, et cetera, but ironically it sounds like, in theory this all sounds perfect because you can apply this to to anything else that, like you said, leaks energy, right? For me, this is a super interesting topic because I'm trying to technically understand. It sounds perfect, in practice. How does that actually work?
It's a great question. Easy to make an Excel sheet and prove that, Bitcoin makes the world greener, but then to actually do it. So since you asked about that, and that goes into your other question too about renewables. So we actually have a partnership that was announced pretty recently with Square. So Square, Jack Dorsey, Twitter, Jack Dorsey, Square. Of course. Yeah. So basically, we have a partnership there, and again, like Jack Dorsey, his philosophy, is also aligned very much with Blockstream and Bitcoin, obviously. But I don't think we have to talk about that. So Square, we have an open partnership with Square where Square invests $5 million in the facility. So 100%. So it's a concept to make 100% renewable Bitcoin mining facility at scale.
Wow, that's an aggressive. So, that's like a to keep.
So it's basically to show. So Blockstream will provide infrastructure and expertise to build and manage the project because we already, as I mentioned, we already have the infrastructure in terms of mining and also the people. So it's so this whole project is going to be open source, so everyone can read, everyone can see the ROI. We're going to make it public, and they're designed to be scalable. So you can add capacity, at will. And we're gonna build a dashboard which is really accessible, showing like real-time metrics of the project's performance, like power output, Bitcoin's mined, and we're gonna have like a real-world use case or case study of how you'll set up 100% renewable Bitcoin mine. So that's something we do to address the practicality, like you mentioned. So that's really cool as well.
Yeah, very much. Is this already getting implemented, or is this just in beginning stages?
Yeah, so this is I don't work directly on the project, but as I understand, like it's being developed now, and it will be done. So that's another thing about Blockstream. We do so many different things. We're moving so fast. Here's another example. We recently announced that we will start making our own ASIC miners. So basically, we will also in the mining space start to make our own miners. We will produce hardware. So in this context, we also had a recently another announcement where we acquired a company called Spondylis, where the Spondylis team, they're sort of a ASIC designer. So they will become part of Blockstream. They're going to set up a new division called Blockstream ASIC. And they will lead the development there of designing new ASIC miners. And we're going to also produce them. So a lot of things happening.
When you mentioned ASIC miners, just for like the average listener, what does ASIC mean?
Yeah, that's an application-specific integrated circuit. So it's a specific Bitcoin hardware that is the chip that is designed to do one very specific thing. Yeah. So before the ASICs, you used to mine Bitcoin on like a CPU, just like a normal computer. But then it got more and more competitive. So eventually, companies started to, as the price of Bitcoin rose, they started to produce their own, actual dedicated hardware to solve these mathematical problems to mine for Bitcoin. So these ASICs were developed, and they're getting better and better and faster and faster. And the calculations, how do you make a miner that can like have a very high hash rate, can like solve this puzzle very, very fast, many times, and that uses very, very little energy. So it's kind of like a race. And that's another part of the puzzle that is important for Bitcoin mining. So also, in addition to most of the hashing power being in China or used to be in China, a lot of the production of the ASICs are also made there, in China and Taiwan. So they're dominating by companies there. So Blockstream also joining the race to actually design and produce ASICs is also another important part, and on the road to greater decentralization for Bitcoin. And again, it's a very difficult thing to do, so we're taking it on.
But you're all in. It sounds like you're all in. I mean, you guys, you're really diversified and really covered. You're covering all the different sort of aspects. And so you've got the mining, renewables, which is like obviously it's a big topic, important topic now. And where are you positioned in all this? So you're you're a biz dev director. What do you oversee? Like, what are your tasks? Where do you collaborate?
Exactly. So I work with, Samson is my boss. He's the chief strategy officer at Blockstream. And
so he's your boss.
Yeah, Samson is my sort of director there. And so, like I mentioned, we have all these different things. We have the wallets, we have the Explorer, we have the satellites, we have the crypto data feed, we didn't even talk about the Lightning, sea Lightning implementation. We have Liquid, we didn't even talk about. We have mining, which has all these different sub-branches, Liquid Network, and so we have a lot of different things. And in addition to that, we have Blockstream is very research heavy. A lot of the people working in Blockstream, they're doing deep research. They're trying to, in addition to doing all the satellites and everything, and the physical infrastructure, the designing of the ASICs. We also have a lot of software developers, obviously.
Yeah, I was just going to ask.
Deep research. Yeah, so basically,
must be developer heavy. Yeah, where
very,
are you?
Very developer heavy, very research heavy.
Sure.
So we have a lot of divisions. So it's a bit. It's also segmented, but I mostly work on Liquid business development. So partnerships. Imagining new visioning where it can go. I talk to a lot of companies that are interested in crypto. So both cryptocurrency companies that want to work with Blockstream because we have a lot of different products that they see fits, and also companies from the traditional industry that are wanting to sort of get a taste of crypto and want to understand. And a lot of conversation revolves around Liquid because Liquid has a lot of capabilities in a lot of different things. So my role at Blockstream is basically to imagine the future, help our teams coordinate as well, to figure out what product it should be, and to basically sell or evangelize our existing product, to industry, crypto
That's
industry, and
to,
also the traditional industry.
Yeah, that's a good way to say evangelize. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of things, I think one kind of wear different hats in the company as well, and so yeah.
So you mentioned Liquid. So tell us about Liquid.
Yes.
Or is there anything before that we want to mention? But I mean, you said that you deal with it directly.
Yes. Actually, let me. So we have another thing. So this ties into Liquid. It also ties into mining. So maybe it's a good place to start. So Blockstream also recently set up a new division called Blockstream Finance, which is a whole new division dedicated to financial products. Because we have, on one hand, we have the traditional financial industry with all their products and services and things that have been existing for many years, and you have the crypto industry where we're kind of building new things. We're replicating the traditional products, and we're also improving them. We're cutting out middlemen, and we're inventing new financial products that are just simply better. And we're also bridging the crypto world with the financial world. So we set up Blockstream Finance, which is sort of dedicated to looking at, what can we do in the intersection between traditional finance and crypto, or just play in the crypto space to develop new cool products. So the first product there, it's called Blockstream Mining Note, or BMN, short. And this is like a super interesting product. Where, so again, like I mentioned, we have the colocations where we help, we make mining simpler for, because we take care of a lot of difficult issues, faced for people wanting to set up mining facilities and get exposure to Bitcoin mining. So colocation services is one way. BMN is a different way. So BMN allows anyone via a financial service, or actually, a financial product, to get exposure to Bitcoin mining. So how does it work? So basically, a investor can invest in the BMN, and one BMN equals 2,000 terahashes per second of hashing power, basically. So one BMN. So BMN is a token
BMN is a token.
Liquid network. Yeah, it's a token issued on the Liquid network, and one token represents a certain amount of hashing power. And so I think in the first tranche, basically where we started to sell the BMNs to investors, it cost 200,000, so 200,000 euros. So you pay 200,000 euros. So you just have to be a person that owns 200,000 euros, and to be be an investor, accredited investor. Then you buy one BMN, and one BMN equals 2,000 terahashes of hashing power that will hash for 3 years. That will mine Bitcoin for 3 years on the Bitcoin network.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's actually a registered security that is also transferable between qualified investors. So you buy the BMN, it equals X amount of hashing power. This hashing power, it's a physical ASIC miner that mines for Bitcoin. That Bitcoin over 3 years, this Bitcoin is sent to a cold wallet, a Bitcoin wallet, into cold storage. And at the expiration, after 3 years, you will get the Bitcoins mined from the BMN. So basically, yeah. So in summary, it's tokenizing hash power, and it allows any investor to get exposure to Bitcoin mining without having to actually buy the miner, without actually having to, be an expert in this field. So we're literally like tokenizing Bitcoin hash power using a Liquid network and using our mining infrastructure.
Tokenizing, right? Okay, so let me play a little devil's advocate here. So, what would be the incentive? Okay, I know you talked about the holding it for 3 years and the ROI, but why not just hold Bitcoin then? Like, what's the incentive to hold the BMN token?
Yeah, it's a great question. That a lot of people ask that. So, well, if you buy Bitcoin, you have an incentive to make Bitcoin better, and to participate. And one aspect of doing that is to participate in the mining space, which helps improve the security of the Bitcoin network. So if you look historically, mining has actually been a very good complement to actually just buying Bitcoin and holding Bitcoin, because it has lower volatility of returns.
Right.
And so basically, if you, for the ROI aspect, so if I hold BTC, if I'm a Bitcoin hodler, I already have Bitcoin. Why would I now convert my Bitcoin to euro, invest the euros in the BMN, and then get Bitcoins mined? So that depends. So if then you have to look at the Bitcoin network, the overall Bitcoin network, and you have to predict how much the hashing power associated with the BMN is able to mine. So since it's interesting because we launched recently this product. It's been a great success, by the way. We release the BMN in tranches because actually we can't scale it infinitely because BMN is represented by physical ASIC miners. So every time we release new BMNs, they have to be it has to be corresponding physical hardware behind it to back it up. So we can't just print.
Okay.
So for now, the people buying the BMN, I think they're I think after 1 year, they have been already paid back to Bitcoins. So year 2 and 3 is just like free profit because the hashing power mines more Bitcoin than the Bitcoin itself if you were to just hold the Bitcoin. So if you go from Bitcoin into BMN, you have to look at the hashing power of the overall Bitcoin network, and you have to sort of be able to predict what will the hash power of the Bitcoin network be for the future. Will the BMN be able to mine more Bitcoin than the Bitcoin needed to invest in the BMN? That's what you have to think about. If you go from fiat, if you're a traditional investor that doesn't own Bitcoin, you just hold fiat, you have to look at the hashing power of the Bitcoin network, and you have to look at the Bitcoin price in addition, because your alternative is euros So it's an interesting product, and it's fixed income. It's because it literally gives you like quote unquote dividends. It gives you
it gives you a fixed amount. Mined. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like it's a cool product, and it's a unique product. We're able to do it because of our mining infrastructure and things like that. So that's a very cool thing.
So I need to get some BMN.
I think so, but it's hard to get though. That's the thing, because we can't just we can't just print it. So we have to release it in tranches, we call them, or you can call them batches.
Right, what you mentioned. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and they're sold out. Like I think last batch that was was even like this week. We had a batch and it was sold out in like 2 minutes.
So these batches sell out. That's also how it works.
Yeah, it's so much demand. We can't produce enough. So we keep expanding. So I think this BMN is like it's a unique revolutionary product.
Sure.
That combines Bitcoin mining and exposure to traditional accredited investors. And it's it's a product that gives you unique exposure. So that's a cool thing. Yeah. And it uses liquid.
So talk to us about liquid and also and AMP. I also saw what is AMP or what is liquid and what are the main benefits, et cetera, et cetera. Talk to us about that.
Yes. So as I mentioned, BMN is a token on the liquid network. So what is liquid and what does it exist? Why does it exist?
Right.
So and again, like everything Blockstream does is to support Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is we all know and love Bitcoin for what it does, for all the properties that it has. Now, of course, Bitcoin has some shortcomings. Bitcoin is an entity in constant flux. It's an evolving being. It's an evolutionary being that is keeps getting better and stronger through the network and also through the software itself. The Bitcoin code is being updated and improved. So Bitcoin today is much better than the Bitcoin 10 years ago. Like we all know. But there's something. So Bitcoin today, it's fairly expensive to send. Like microtransaction, it's a bit slow, and it's not confidential. the Bitcoin blockchain. Anyone can read it. And you have some companies that are analyzing the transactions and trying to KYC and things like this. So and that's something obviously very the Bitcoin core developers in particular are very passionate about, and it's very important for Bitcoin to become more private. And I think this is something also Lightning will help to do. But so Bitcoin is amazing. We love Bitcoin, but it has certain limitations, like I mentioned. It's expensive, it's slow, and it's not confidential. So this is what Liquid does. Liquid is a Bitcoin sidechain that connects to Bitcoin, and so you send Bitcoin to an address on the Bitcoin network. They're then frozen, and then they're then unlocked or unleashed on the Liquid network. And when you're on the Liquid network, all transactions by default are confidential. So I believe it was Gregory Maxwell that worked on this as well. He used to be the CTO of Blockstream, developing confidential transactions. This technology. So this is used by Liquid. So it's so it enables transactions to be confidential, and also it's faster and cheaper. So the block times are 1 minute, versus on average 10 minutes for Bitcoin. So it extends the capabilities of Bitcoin, and it makes Bitcoin better, quote unquote. In addition to that, you also asked about AMP. So AMP is an acronym for, and it stands for Asset Management Platform. So because on Liquid, in addition to making Bitcoin faster, cheaper, more confidential, you can also issue assets on Liquid. So BMN was one such asset that has been issued. And AMP, the asset management platform, it's an API basically to help you issue assets, to issue and manage assets on Liquid. So it's an API developed by Blockstream to make it more easy for businesses to integrate their systems into the Liquid network. And also, like, the good thing is it enables you to, like we talked about the crypto world and the traditional financial world, how to bridge it.
Yes.
And the thing, in the traditional financial markets, they're under heavy regulation. When you buy secure, like this is the whole thing with SEC now, where all the rules and, like, quote unquote coming after crypto, and the people that play in the traditional world, they have to, they're, people with addresses and jobs, they have to play by the rules,
of course,
in the regulated space. So AMP also is a way for companies in the traditional space to issue things like security tokens, for example, in a regulated fashion. So Liquid, you could issue like standard assets that are, anyone can own it. You have kind of confidential transactions, and you can do whatever you want. It's permissionless. And you have something called issuer tracked assets, or basically assets.
What kind of assets? Sorry, would you say that again?
Issuer tracked. So you have an issuer. Yeah. So you have an issuer that issues an asset on the Liquid network, and those assets can represent different things. So for the BMN case, they represent hashing power on the Bitcoin network. They can also represent securities in the company. Those are called security tokens. And, so that, I think that's also a big thing that, is happening more and more, where actually traditional companies, they want to issue their stocks on blockchains, and you can use Liquid to do that. And some of them, they have to play by rules, which states that you have to know who your investors are. You have to KYC your investors, and you have to be able to track where the assets are sent. So Liquid allows you. So in addition to being, you could use Liquid as a private, secure network and do whatever you want without any permissions. But if you're an issuer that plays in the traditional world, you can also set certain parameters that enables you to track assets and also make it transferable, for example, to only users that are approved. So it's a flexible sidechain that enables a lot of different things, basically.
Can you maybe take us through, like, shortly through a use case with Liquid and giving us an example? I mean, you've sort of explained it, but just maybe like an actual use case.
Sure. So recently we announced, I think it was last Friday, the announcement was. So literally 7 days ago, 1 week ago, we announced that we have a new collaboration between Merge Exchange. It's the national exchange of Seychelles, the Republic of Seychelles.
It's Seychelles. Okay.
Okay. So and also tech provider. It's a trading technology provider called Digital Markets or Digital. So the announcement was about that the Seychelles Stock Exchange, Digital Markets Trading Technologies, and Liquid will work together using AMP as well, AMP, to provide issuers globally with tools, infrastructure needed to issue and manage security tokens on the Liquid network. So you have now, let's say you have an issuer that wants to tokenize their securities. How do you do that in any regulated fashion? Where you follow all the rules. So now issuers have this ability by issuing their assets using the Liquid network with the technology provided by digital assets on the merge exchange that play by the rules. So this is one example where we're again bridging the world between traditional finance and the world of crypto and blockchains using Liquid.
Are you involved in that in any way, in any capacity, or because you mentioned that you also are with Liquid? I mean, that's one of your areas.
Yes, exactly. So this is an example of sort of the key things that business developer will do at Blockstream, which is to work, finding use cases and working with partners, real world partners in the physical world to make new cool things and enable cool new products. So I've worked with, in this case, you speak with the merge exchange and also digital markets. You talk with the developers on each side, and you go through all the process of all the contracts, the MOUs, and everything. So this is something I worked into that film.
Very, very cool. So you're actually very busy. It'll be interesting to see after
it's insane.
With this use case. I mean, with all the stuff that you're talking about, I mean, it will be cool to have you back also in some time to see what all has happened. Maybe in like 6 months, it'll be like a decade probably.
It is.
Given everything that you're doing. So much, very cool. So yeah. A note to our audience, this is the end of part 1. Tune into part 2 next week, where we continue the conversation with Ivar and discuss the Lightning Network, Bitcoin, network effects, decentralization, and governance. Thanks to Ivar, and thank you everyone for listening. Thanks to our sponsor, Fourth Tech, who's supporting our first steps in the podcast world. And thank you to the Baryan Music team for providing their music. You can check out their latest album on baryanmusic.com. You can find all supporting information on our website, blockchainrecorded.com. And you can also find us on Google, Apple, and Amazon podcasts, as well as Spotify, Radio Public, and Stitcher. Be well and stay tuned for our next episode.